strong and fine and healthy churches in America. And plus, I was just developing more in terms of teaching and ministry as well. So those were some good days. Then eventually the Lord blessed us to get started. And we did this for about a year, and then as we prayed about it, we just sensed that it was time for us to do. And so we gathered the few people, mostly again it was family, and one visitor that wasn't a family member, and launched Metro Christian Worship Center in a prayer setting and so forth. And the name for the church was not really something that we had planned to do. I mean, I had a name. It was going to be called Love Reach, something, Worship Center, something like that. What were you saying?
I said in a small apartment in Hazelwood.
Yeah.
In a little picnic area, you were praying.
Yeah.
And the Lord dealt with you.
Yeah.
About that.
In fact, I would go out there 6, 7 o'clock in the morning, spend a couple hours in prayer and reading the Word and all that when it was conducive. And so that's where we were living at the time. And so this particular morning, I just asked, thinking God was just going to say, the name we had was fine. But I said, God, by the way, who are we? What's the name you want us to be? And I mean, just as clear as day, I heard this name, Metropolitan Christian Worship Center. An early prayer in our apartment. And while I was praying, I had been looking in the newspaper and all that, and I had circled all these places that I wanted to go see. And didn't seem to be able to find any place. And that particular morning, I was praying, and the Spirit of the Lord said to me, go back to the newspaper. Because I said, God, where are we going to go? We don't have where to go. And this lady is putting us out. And by that time, we had grown, and we were about maybe 50, 60, 70 people coming. And so our apartment was too small to do that, and we couldn't do it at our clubhouse in the apartment. So nothing regular like that. And it's kind of bad, and you're trying to move around different places. I'm not quite sure where you're going to be here in America. So I was asking the Lord, kind of crying out to God. It was really important to us, obviously. And so the Lord said to me, go back to the newspaper. I mean, that impression. It's like he touched me on my chest and said, go back to the newspaper. So I went back, and when I sat down, this thought came to me from God. I want you to comb it, go through every article. So I went through every article, and I hadn't seen it. I don't know how I missed it. But as I went through article by article, ad by ad, I saw this listing. It said, new listing, church for sale. This is our first target area. Cosmopolitan area, we've seen that. And hopefully, Sister Barbara, we're going to be working together, sing, spell, read, and write, possibly even English as a second language. We need a course in that. I'd also like to put together a course on health and fitness to deal with the AIDS and sexually transmitted disease. Where the term people can come and get prayed for and get referred to some of the things that need to get done. Yes, Pastor Chris.
Today was not our first time in this community. Back in April, we remember when the challenge team was here, we were in 3 of the schools in this area. So even the education department is already aware of Metro Associates coming in and being a part of this area. So the Lord strategically has already had us here ministering in this community. So there may be even parents of the children who saw the challenge team a part of this meeting. So we are not new to this community at all.
Do you remember we were trying to get in North St. Louis and all the doors closed? We couldn't get in. And the only schools that we could get in were mostly South St. Louis schools. I mean, God has been working on this even before he revealed where he wants us to be. So that's why I keep saying it's bigger than us. Everything is pointing in this direction. Walked in, there was marble in the bathroom. The carpet looked horrible, had green walls, but it was very ornate, as many of you can still see, and we loved it. And we could not believe this place was 125. I said 135. That's what we ended up paying, but they were selling for $125,000. And later, when my pastor came, he couldn't believe it. He said, "Man, just the windows alone, the stained glass windows, cost $125,000." But we started, and it was just, by then we had over 100 members and visitors and cats and dogs and frogs and kids. So
Yeah, we
everybody.
laugh about
That's
that
what
all
I'm
the
talking
time.
But
Count everybody.
we asked people to come, and we got the key, and we went in, and we told everyone about it. I still remember when we was telling everybody about it. All we ask you to do is pray. Please don't give comments about it. I know we don't know how we're going to pay for it. We just ask you to pray, because we believe this is the Lord. And if it isn't God, ask God to speak to us about it. But we want you to go down, take a look at it. We have the key. We went down, stood around the walls, prayed, had a worship service, all of that. Had a prayer service, rather. And everyone kept getting the same affirmation in their heart from God. This is the Lord. This is the Lord. This is the Lord. And so we started raising money. We didn't have any money, but people began to make sacrifice. I started hearing about things. I get choked up thinking about it.
Washing machine.
Yeah, the lady, she put off buying a washing machine. Somebody else put off getting a car. Someone else was supposed to, they had been saving for years, not just for a year, for years, to be able to go on a vacation, family vacation, and they started giving their money to help us do it.